Hello everybody, my name is Cheesecake. Welcome back to another retrospective where we explore your favourite childhood games and my favourite childhood games together. Today is another licensed movie to PS2 game that I love called Robots, and I was going to do this video next anyway, but then someone commented on my last video, Shrek on the PS2, his name's Crispy Crunchy. He said, are you going to be doing robots anytime soon? And the answer is now. As you boot up the game, you're greeted with this amazing mechanical loading screen. It's very full of life as it bounces around and moves with each selection you make. This made me very nostalgic for loading screens of PS2 past that seem to ooze with character and maximalism in a way that games don't quite hit anymore. Take this main menu for example. What game do you think this is from? It's from Split Fiction, one of the newest games in 2025. Yet it doesn't capture any of the creativity you can find in the rest of the game, which is a really good one by the way, you should definitely play it. I think we need to bring back maximalist menus. Once we get into the first level, we are playing as Rodney. I just have to say, I am completely blown away by how good this game looks. Of course, now that we play it in modern times on a PS2 emulator, it is going to look a little bit better than how it did back in the day. But still, I mean, please draw your attention to all of the impressive assets on display here. The nuts and bolts in front of Rodney have this bright shine that makes them stick out in the world so the player has an easier time finding them. The idle animations of the NPCs are really fluid and smooth. There's no chopping in or out of animation cycles. The textures, though basic in design, look really clean, and each of the robots' bodies have lots of details and moving parts. The UI design here is simple and pretty with bright colours and shading. Even the prompt to talk to NPCs is simple but effectively communicated with a small bubble that fades in and out. These are of course all small details, but nonetheless details that I have seldom seen in PS2 games I've reviewed recently, and goes to show how this game is at a higher caliber than one would expect from a licensed movie game. I have to also say I absolutely adore the music that they have used in the main menu, in the levels, especially in level 1. It is so light and whimsical. There's a full orchestra scoring your gameplay here. It really is such a beautiful addition. The strings make it feel so uplifting and open. I don't know, this score is probably one of my favourites that I've reviewed so far, which is so random because if you'd have asked me I never would have expected Robots to be the one delivering on the music department, but it is. So in this first level here, though it is linear, it does have sort of a semi-open world feel where you can roam around the whole town, you can actually talk to different NPCs, and you can explore, collect nuts and bolts, which are the currency in the game. Cars are driving by, there's lots of pedestrians, some of their lines are actually quite funny as well.
I would just die if my friends saw me talking to you. I'd just say that you asked me for some money or something.
It feels alive and it feels breathing, like Shrek 2 does that really well in Far Far Away. A game that maybe does not hit those points as well is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which has a really fucking eerie first level where like no one's in the town, it's just Charlie. It's super weird. I might have to do that game in the future.
Duh! Second, the amount of power it would take to convert energy and matter would be like 9 atomic bombs.
Mumbler!
But back to Robots. The gameplay here is quite simple. It can essentially be split into 4 categories, including platforming, combat, puzzle solving, and upgrades. Upgrades, people, upgrades! Anyway, the platforming involves Rodney jumping across platforms to reach higher areas to collect nuts and bolts and blueprints, as well as reaching switches, which creates a puzzle solving element. A lot of the jumps require precise timing, which is where the double jump mechanic comes in really handy. I adore a double jump because of the ability to adjust your trajectory mid-air, such a PS2 era classic. The combat here involves using weapons against robots like rabid dogs or corporate enforcers, the latter of which being terrifying for a child in my opinion. Rodney starts off with a wrench that acts as a melee weapon but can upgrade his gear to a blaster gun that shoots from his arm. The upgrades are bought through the pop-up TVs around the levels and are paid for by the nuts and bolts you find lying around the levels. Later levels have more movement style gameplay where you ride Big World, of course.
Yeah!
What the fuck is that?
That's Big World.
Big World!
I'm Rodney.
I don't care!
Who's the king of the beach? Yeah!
Yeah, actually gonna be so
Who's the king of the beach now?
So while I've given this game its flowers, it's time for me to give some critiques as well. Many of the reviews from back in the day, like IGN for example, will give it a mediocre review, predominantly mentioning how the gameplay becomes repetitive and stale if you're over the age of 10. Many say it's a clone of Ratchet & Clank but without all of the gameplay finesse. And yeah, pretty much there's a lot of similar combat past the first couple of levels. Where Rodney's double jump excels as a gameplay mechanic, something like his blaster is just clunky, the camera work is not synergized with it at all, and gunplay is not really executed well, surprise surprise, in a movie port about robots. My subjective critique of this game is that I hated when these licensed games would go so combat or gunplay heavy rather than focusing on exploration. I was say 5 or 6 when I played this, and when I tell you that my interest plummeted through the floor as soon as I found out that this game has scary machines chasing you and making Rodney do this weird eerie death animation 24/7, I was checking out. I did not and still do not like creepy things chasing me in video games. Maybe it's just me, but games like Monster House, although it's a phenomenal movie, were just too blatantly scary for me as a child. I don't want to mince my words here because I loved Monster House as a movie back in 2006 when I was 6, and I did not find it too scary. I think there is a huge distinction between a movie and a game, especially for kids, being too scary. When things are chasing you in a movie, obviously you don't feel as connected as you do when you are literally controlling the character and things are chasing you to your death. As opposed to something like Open Season, a random game for sure and definitely had some combat still, but was much more focused on developing the story and allowing the character to explore levels at their own pace. The main feeling this game leaves me with today is sort of sad nostalgia at the fact that this game, like many other licensed games on the PS2, was not good nor bad enough to remain on anyone's radar after all of these years. That is to say, since this game is no Shrek 2 or hit and run masterpiece, it's barely spoken about or remembered as part of the PS2 era. And while the gameplay may be lacking in some areas, this game had aura, and that's why I still think about it till this day, and I hope some of you out there do as well. I just realised that whole time I wasn't wearing my game earrings. It's not like that's my brand or anything. Anyway, I put in Pokemon Sun and Moon, so quickly soak it all up now while you can. That's going to be all for today. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure that you like and subscribe because I've nearly got 100 subscribers and that would be really, really cool. And I've obviously got a whole list of games that I still have to get through. We've got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we've got Monster House, we've got fucking Chicken Little, like we've got so many licensed PS2 games that are still yet to come. So make sure that you subscribe so that you can see all the new ones that come out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.